And we are now recording.
Yay.
I've given up on all the music. Let's just get to
Once you made your promise, you brought it in when you said you're going to, and now you're done.
I may return if I can figure out it's going to be easy. I need to get this on iTunes, get the music going, violate some copyrights. Let's get going.
Yes, let's violate all the stuff.
I started a GoFundMe. I would like to get a new shirt.
Oh,
And apparently I need help.
you know what? I gotta put that in my notes. I've got to get myself a little gingham dress so we can match. Gingham dress. Done.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
One of my oldest friends is joining us in about 15 minutes.
Yes.
Jay Adams. He's
Very
the original Renaissance man.
Right.
I'm anxious for him to join us. I'll let him. We'll leave that for later. So what are your topics for today?
Oh, my topics.
Squeeze them in before you know who shows up.
Okay. But it's so funny. I was getting ready to read the wrong thing. I was going to read my notes of things I wanted to buy for myself. Let's not do that. So one of my friends
this needs batteries and this needs batteries.
Broken, overuse. No, one of my friends suggested there's a Pabst Blue Ribbon, some kind of a coffee beer that tastes like Starbucks Frappuccino.
What?
And I want to try it. I wrote it in my notes so I'd remember. She always gets the good stuff. I don't know how you feel about Starbucks Frappuccino drinks, but I really enjoy them. And I don't always enjoy beer, but if I could drink a beer that tastes like that, I would. It's only a couple hundred calories.
We're going to hell in a handbasket. You want to get drunk? Drink whiskey. I don't want you to drink cotton candy vodka. You want to get a buzz on? Drink a beer. I don't want a sugary drink.
Bubblegum vodka is the best.
There needs to be a price to be paid. Right now, it's just the price is being paid by your waistline.
But if I can get drunk and have candy at the same time,
they're just appealing to our lowest common denominator.
I'm in.
I get it. I remember it must have been 5 years ago or something. I read this article. We can inject alcohol into anything. Is that a good idea? We can inject alcohol into candy, blah, 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 blah. And I was a huge fan. I still am a huge fan of those, like these crazy seltzer drinks. It used to be LaCroix. LaCroix started this, 3 years ago?
Yes.
I mean, that's the only one you could get. Used to be, I don't understand what happened with the whole thing. It used to be a fancy drink like Perrier.
Yes.
Or there was another brand, also a green brand. And one was lime, one was lemon. And that's how that whole industry just sat there forever, when in the 60s and 70s, that's when Perrier got introduced like that.
Okay.
So for 30 years, it was, if you wanted sparkling water, it was Perrier or some sparkling water from some place in France you never heard of. But generally, that was the green bottle. Am I right?
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Tell me if your history is different than mine.
What?
And then along came LaCroix, kind of trading a little bit on the Perrier French thing, but it's sparkling water in a can, and you buy it in the 6-pack.
And it's called LaCroix.
It changed the industry.
It did. It did. It reminds me of ice cream. Do you remember when all of a sudden people started putting things in ice cream like Reese's peanut butter cups, and then we're like, my God.
It's like every day he's going to the state fair. We're going to take an M&M's bar, wrap it in peanut butter, then ice cream, and then drop it in fry it. Wow, that's crazy.
Yes, and we all love it.
9,000 calories later.
I am a sucker for the end caps at the grocery store. What you got? What's new? What's trendy?
Did you know that, bubblegum sales are way down from the end caps, as you walk out, check out of your Publix or your grocery stores?
Why?
Because people are on their phones now. They're not watching. They're not looking. They're not bored for that 90 seconds while they're waiting their turn and looking at the candy selection. They're on their phone looking down here. So sales of those impulse sales are way down.
I was thinking about that the other day. I've saved so much money on impulse sales because I'm not out. I'm always picking up things at the airport or, that's a pretty blouse.
Right.
I'm not doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I lost weight over this because I wasn't driving through. I told this story before because I wasn't out driving through Taco Bell every, 3 times a day.
Yeah. For me, it's mostly money. Like today, I was dying for French fries, but I don't go anywhere. So I had to actually peel a damn potato and fry.
What? That's an outrage.
I wanted it so bad. So I peeled a whole entire giant potato and made my own French fries.
That's an interesting thing. I did make fries about 3 months ago. It was like a date at home. We
It's
decided to
so
make
good.
fries. Was that nice?
It's so good. Yeah.
I don't know how I made them, but I like them with the skin on.
Me too. I didn't peel the skin off.
Then what did you peel?
I mean, I chopped it up. I chopped it.
Oh, well, you use the verb peel.
My words are not always right. I get very excited. I say things that are wrong a lot.
Well, with potatoes, you got chopping and you got peeling. Those are
You're
call me
right.
crazy.
I'm not a big kitchen person. So what I meant was chopping. I didn't take the skin off. I like the skin. And then I can fry them extra. I like them really crispy, right?
And what's your process? Do you fry them in oil?
I just fried them in oil and I used kosher salts and kept shaking them in the basket.
Delightful.
That would have cost $20 in New York.
Yeah, you do yourself. I hosted a football draft very safely. We all wear masks.
Yeah.
In a very large room, as much as we can. So at the end of it, everybody saying goodbye. We're all just bumping this and that. And guy comes up to me and says, "Hey, do you want a box of vegetables?" I go, "Well, not necessarily." He goes, "Yeah, it's some potatoes, onions, and apples." So I go, "Well, I would take some apples for the horses." I don't know what he's being very generous. I don't know why. So I agree to the apples, and then he hands me this huge box, and then I put it on the chair, and I say goodbye to everybody. So I go back and open the box. It's a type of box you pass out when hungry people come up to the church and they're looking for food.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
yeah.
So I did give those apples to the horses. It wasn't a lot. It was like 7 potatoes and 4 onions and 9 apples. But I like that idea with the potatoes. I'll make a donation and I'll eat those potatoes.
So good. Yeah, so good. We're doing a lot. I'm reading a lot in the neighborhood. I have found during this crisis, either people are wonderful, they're doing the food sharing. Right. There's some restaurants that have like a big fridge outside, so no one has to ask. They go up to the fridge. There's that. There's the lovely, how can we help? What do you need? People are giving things away. We were watching on the free site because people that are asking, there's a whole Facebook page just for free stuff. And this lady said her friend's neighbor, their house had burned down and they wanted a portable air conditioning unit. We happen to have one. I'd had it for a couple of years. And so Alex is like, hey, I'm like, give it. I feel much better giving something like that away than taking, $100 or so bucks for it.
Wow. Was this another segment of how Melinda is a better person than you? Or me?
No, I mean, I'm going to.
That's very nice. You sit on stuff you're never going to use it when someone can find it to be very valuable. That's a great thing.
And it's selfish on my part. It feels good to give. I get a huge endorphin.
Donation, write-off is the word you're looking for.
It feels amazing to help because I've been in those circumstances where I needed help. I get how humbling it is and how heartbreaking it is. And so I've seen those people, right? And then I've also seen the other people that are like the people in the movies that I never believed existed that would be willing to kill their young just to prove a point. And so it's been interesting to see those very hard lines. Very hard lines are drawn right now. Very hard.
It's always nice to get a break that you may or may not have deserved, but you got it anyway.
Yes.
Regardless, those are the best.
Yes, they really, really are.
Give us a topic or two before you know who butts in.
Okay.
Just kidding. I'm really looking forward to Jay.
I know you are. How much time do we have? So I've got first date questions, to your own horn, saying goodbye, or behind the scenes.
Let's do them in order. First date questions.
Okay. Have you ever been on a first date where they peppered you with a lot of questions? I looked up research to see what the perfect first date questions are. But first I want to know from you, have you had that where it's been the interviewer where they're just like,
you know what? Generally not. I hate to negate your premise, but I know it's out there because a lot of women say, hey, let's go on a date, not on an interview. So it must be out there and it's not organic. about all the questions that people have.
Yes.
Generally, I find my dates to be less curious about what I'm doing. You're picking up the check, right? Yeah, I got the check.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
Okay.
talk about me.
Well, I guess under that same premise, I have heard from a lot of men that there are a certain amount of women that will go on dates just to go have a meal. Is that correct?
It
Like that.
happens. And I'm confident that it happened to me at least once. I mean,
That's such a shame. I just don't even get why you'd have that much downtime that you put the effort into for a meal. Are you kidding me?
at least that's how I interpreted it.
Well, I mean, then I've heard very much that it's a thing. So here's what I found on the research, and I thought this was really kind of not great, because when I go on a date, I like it to be organic, right? Let's just have a conversation. I don't believe I've ever been pushed too hard about any of my boundaries on the first date, right? I don't think anybody's ever been like, how do you feel about anal sex? Like on the first date, I feel like then that would tell me a lot about the person, right? Because you're still just seeing, is the vibe there? Do you really want to pursue this, right?
Right.
So they're saying in this article here, okay, tell me how you'd feel about this. If we're on a date and I said, so tell me, Tom, you don't know me from anybody, right? Tell me, Tom.
It's a Bumble date. We've
It's a
chatted
Bumble date.
3 times. I said, hey, let's just go get a drink. And
yes. And then I go, hey, what makes you unique?
What is this, the dating game? And here they are.
Who would ever ask anybody that question? I love questions, but I would be put off by what I feel like a lot of pressure, like I have to show my talents and skills or something. Is he coming in?
He's having a little trouble. Yeah. It's on Messenger. It's
okay.
On
Messenger. We're a very technical show right now. Just working it in. So if anybody were to ask me what makes you unique, I wouldn't even enjoy that. I don't enjoy putting on like a dog and pony.
Of course not.
But it was a question they recommended.
What makes you unique?
This was all about first date questions. If you're not sure what to talk about, they recommended asking this. No,
it's a horrible question because you really put a person on the spot. And what really about any individual is unique? I mean, outside of the obvious that you're one of a kind just by you're sitting in a chair and no one really looks like you or is like you. But I mean, we're all just variations of a kind of a theme, I
agree.
I could name off 10 things about me, but I don't believe I would be unique of those 10 things. I can swim. I'm a Democrat, right. Whatever, or I'm a Republican, whatever,
right.
You can find somebody else, another individual like that.
Yeah. So if someone were to ask you that, how would you handle it? Would it be off-putting, or would you try to just go with it?
I would think, my impression would be, all right, well, at least she's asking a question, which many women don't even ask a question. So that's a plus. She's put some thought into this. And I'm going to say, all right, well, at least she's trying. This is an effort to get to know me. I would probably spin the question a little bit and turn it more into like, what are things that I like to do? Stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Uh-oh. I got lots of thoughts on that. Jay wants in. We're ready for Jay.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go circle back on that, all right?
We shall.
All right.
We definitely shall.
We're ready to go.
Now the Jay hour.
Oh, look at that. I wish I would have worn my suit. I hope you got a video on this thing too, Mr. Adams.
Let me open up my video here.
Look at this in that booming voice.
Commanding
like an admiral.
Just keep looking at the photo. He's
Look at that.
Going up.
Keep your hands over the table where I can see him, Melinda.
That's definitely a Tinder or Bumble photo for sure.
Look at that. Well, he's a married man, and ladies, he's married. Are you looking for your video button?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to get the virtual screen on here. I selected it, but for some reason it's not taking it. It's one of those classic.
The virtual screen.
Have you been on Zoom before?
Not as often as I probably should.
No.
Everybody on the planet. Zoom came from nowhere. Had you ever heard of Zoom before the pandemic?
Zoom started March 3rd.
I mean, who knew? And now they have everybody's number.
And then why was it Zoom and not Skype, for gosh sakes? Right? I mean, Skype's been around forever.
And
exactly.
what I like
Listen,
about
Jordan, Jay, you're out of the conversation until we see you. Okay, just me and Melinda. We're covering time till you find the button. Oh, look at that!
There we go.
He's real.
Some of the bells and whistles.
Look at what all the stuff he has.
Look at this.
What a show off!
It took a while to upload it though. It's I was trying to get there real fast, but I couldn't get as fast as I wanted to. But
Gosh.
Look at he's got a professional microphone. I've got this thing I got at the dollar store. Hello. We just have it in green, sir. It's a dollar store.
I have this. I got to figure out a Bluetooth workaround though for these headsets.
Yeah, well, we're just using our speakers. So Jay and I have known each other for 30 years, buddy. Longer than that.
Yeah.
I started
30 plus.
87. I started at 87 HSN.
Wow. So what is that? Yeah, 33. I came in at 88, so 32 we've known each other.
Wow. Jay was a producer. Should have been an on-air host. He was.
I couldn't sell to save my life. Everyone was so nice to me about it. They were like, maybe we'll. Yeah, you know what? Let's talk about it again in October. They pushed it. They kicked the can across the street for like 4 years. I couldn't sell to save my life. I was in the bullpen for 4 years.
Yeah.
I was like, finally, I said, you know what? Maybe it's not in the cards.
Maybe if Dan Dennis pulled something, you could come in. Maybe you should have pushed him down the stairs.
I had the opportunity though. When Tom, you were running the whole show, and Tom kept saying, "When are you coming over? When are you coming over?" And at that point, I think I had left HSN and I was doing kind of freelance stuff. And you kept saying, come on back, come on back. And I think it was a combination of nerves and I was booking. So I was kind of happy with what I was doing.
Yeah.
But there was a part of it that was after 4 years of, getting tossed around a little bit, the nerves. I'm like, you know what? There were about 32 people who thought I shouldn't do it. So maybe we'll, kind of the 32 versus 1. Maybe we'll go with the 32 in this regard.
All right. Can I give you your highlights? Then you fill in where I'm off and some of the big beats that I'll miss. So Jay broke out. He was the local anchor for the what is W? What was it? What was the TV station you worked for that was owned by Home Shopping?
Oh, the one owned by HSN. That was let's see, WTSP. No. Sorry.
It doesn't
matter. Was it? WBHS. WBHS.
You did that for a while. Then Jay was a huge man about town. I mean, you'd open the Sunday paper. There's an ad for Florida Power. Well, there's Jay and his fake family, looking at the meter, trying to figure out.
Life. It's all fake.
But he was a huge fish in a relatively medium-sized pond. But then he went out to Los Angeles to make his bones trying to get in the movies, right? And then had a couple of nice little opportunities, ended up being working at the Millionaire Show, being the host for the Millionaire Show out in Disney. So the live Millionaire Show. Jay, how long you hosted that? Like 3 years, 4 years?
A little over 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then since he owned that, decided to come back, did the Millionaire Show in Orlando for a bit. And then he started it wasn't the Fight Alliance out of the box, but he loves mixed martial arts, and he developed this entire business of mixed martial art production and announcing and the whole 9 yards. He and his wife are doing a fabulous job.
Thank you, buddy. It's very nice of you to say that. Thank you.
Sure. I'm so proud of you. You've done great.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. It was really weird how it all came about. I was doing Millionaire in California, and the guy who was one of the original producers of the first MMA show just happened to be in the audience with his family. They just happened to have gone to Disney that day.
Wow.
And he asked one of the pages to grab me in the green room at the end of the show and, gave me a quick half an hour there and said, "Are you familiar with the sport?" I said, "I sure am." And then we had dinner that night, and that's where it just kind of took off. I started doing shows for him, and I just straight commentating, didn't really look into the business side of things because I didn't think that way. Right. I had that 9 to 5 mentality. Just give me a gig. What's my next gig? Where's my next gig? And never thought of building a business or, any kind of entrepreneurial leanings at all. I really didn't. It was all about performing, and I loved, that was enough, and
yep,
that was just enough for me. But yeah, so after about 15 years, my wife got tired of that. She said, you need to turn this into something more than just, because, you know, you're going gig to gig.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you don't have any kind of,
No continuity.
yeah, there's no,
You
that
can't
whole
control
thing
your
of,
destiny.
yeah. That whole adage of you want money to be being made while you're asleep. And that's when you're, a business owner versus a 9-to-5er.
Right.
And so that was kind of what she was looking for after about 15 years of commentating.
Right.
And,
but you were doing well. I mean, you traveled the world, South America, Ireland, whatever, Japan, right?
That
You
was
were all over the
amazing.
place.
That was such a blessing. Yeah. I went through about 2 passports on doing fights, and, really cool countries, exotic, scary countries, dicey situations. And
you want to tell any story in particular? Because Melinda wants to talk to you about your ice baths.
Oh, yeah, Melinda, that's a subject close to my heart. I just did a cryo yesterday. There's a cryotherapy place right here in West Chase, and
you see it like that's part of everybody's conversation. When was your last cryo? When did you?
Melinda, you interview. I'm going to sit back for a second. Well, you guys talk.
Have you done a cryo yet, Melinda?
I have not.
Oh my gosh.
You know what? I guess because it hasn't come my way, and I'm very easily distracted. And so unless something like falls in my lap, I normally don't dive into it. But now that you've mentioned it, it'll become my new obsession.
You want to describe what it is?
Yeah. I mean, if you are looking to fix a couple things, if
Love life, your battery on the car.
Prevent it all if it'll do the battery in the car. Could do the love life because it kind of restarts the system. But
replace the word pecker for system.
So much of disease is inflammation.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the infomercial.
Yeah, pretty much all of disease is inflammation. And when you do the cryo, it forces your body down, like it takes your temperature way down. And inflammation, at least this is, the theory. I haven't by no means can confirm nor deny, but the theory goes that inflammation can't exist once it gets below a certain temperature. So if you have a bad knee or a bad back, or you have some brain fog, whatever inflammatory condition you have, the cryo jacks your system down, and then for 2 weeks, no problems with the knees, no problems with the back. You're alert, you feel clear-headed, and I've noticed it. They'll put any song you want on when you're inside the cryo unit. So I'll just put on, yesterday I did Slow Ride, by Foghat, because it's you want kind of a badass song, because you're gonna go through some pain.
How long does it last?
The cryo is short. It's most people can stay in it for about 2 minutes. I go
What's your record?
Right now they won't let me go longer than 3, because it's something, I don't even know what the temperature is, but it's painful. So I've gone over 3. That's my record. And my record in the tub is 60 pounds of ice. I put 3 20-pound sacks of ice in the tub with me.
So the cryo every couple of weeks isn't enough. You have to go out and tell everybody what you're doing with the Lowe's buckets.
Yeah. So I have 3 20-pound buckets, the Lowe's buckets, and I got a big floor ice box, and it's about the size of a fridge, but it's horizontal, and I'll put those buckets filled with water in the in the ice machine, whatever I don't even know what you call it, ice chest, and I'll take the 60-pound blocks of ice and I put it in the tub with me, and in the water. And my goal is not to get out of the tub until I've melted all 60 pounds of the ice blocks.
I've never seen the look on Melinda's face. It's like, am I talking to a robot? Is this a man? Someone poke him with a pin.
I've heard about this, and then I just recently got more interested. And so for probably the last 4 months, I started doing the cold showers.
Oh, right on.
Started doing that.
The kindergarten.
Every time Tom brings up a topic, if I know something about it, he's flabbergasted. How does he know about this topic? And I find the ice interesting because I don't know enough about how long or what's healthy, or I don't know the boundaries. But everything I've heard about it, works in your favor. So why aren't more people doing it? Why isn't it more out there? Why, like, how expensive is it to go in for 2 to 3 minutes? What does that cost you?
So Renew has different levels of membership. I just joined it, and you can do 2 protocols a month for $50 a month. So each protocol is $25 per protocol. It's pretty reasonable. Like, they have really high-end treatments that would be normally very expensive if you didn't do it through a membership.
Right.
Oxygen therapy, IV drips, infrared saunas, infrared panels.
What's nice, don't they have an offer that if you do it with another person, you can get it for like $15 a thing, but they have a hard time chiseling you apart when you're done.
That's right. That's right. They do. I don't know if you can go into the cryo with someone else. That would be interesting. Try to keep each other warm, you know?
What do you wear? Are you naked in that? How does that work?
Okay, now the fantasy begins. Here we go.
You have to wear
She's asking the
mittens.
question all the ladies are thinking right now, Jake. Go ahead.
All right.
Give us the details.
Oh my gosh. You have to wear mittens and you have to wear socks. Then it's just a robe. And, they don't really tell you what to wear or not to wear. I just do underwear, robe, mittens, and socks.
Oh, the underwear. Did you hear where what was his name? Antonio Brown went in the Cairo last season before the football season without socks, and he froze his feet. He had frostbite for 3 months.
Oh,
'Cause he wanted everything Cairo or cryo.
Yeah. There's some people who could take it. Have you heard of Wim Hof? He's a guy out of Iceland.
We've talked about him. Yeah.
Yeah. HOF is his last name. He ran the Iditarod in bare feet.
Nice.
Just to kind of prove that the humans can do. He's a multi Guinness Book World of Record holder, swam under an iceberg in a pair of shorts. And
Melinda just wants a guy that'll scrape the ice off the windshield in the morning. All this other stuff is.
That's the only Iceman she wants.
That's right.
Her expectations.
I got your Iceman right here.
That's right. That's right. So do you feel different right away then when you do the cryo? Is it?
Yeah, it lifts my mood for sure. There's no question about it. It lifts my mood. Because I get real buzzy and I get real chatty. And I asked the gals who worked there, there's 3 or 4 of them. They're all awesome. I said, does everybody get chatty when they get out of this thing? They say, yeah, pretty much. Because it kind of like,
really?
It just kind of, it's almost like, high test coffee or something. You just get very clear headed. I don't know how to explain it.
I got to try that.
Yeah, I think, you guys would love it. If you want to come up, I'm confident enough to say I could probably get you in for the first one for free.
Oh, whatever. That's $25.
Yeah.
Is fine.
Yeah. And come in and bring the cameras and then roll it on your show. Roll what you did, right? Roll the whole experience on your show.
Doing a remote.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's it. We're doing a remote. You had a little Costanza there. I don't know. We're doing a remote.
How often should you do it? What's the recommendation?
I don't know.
He says twice a month.
Yeah, you can get. I think like the Mac Daddy package there is 4 times a month for 2 people, and that's like $199. The other thing you can do for the day is do a flat fee, just a day rate. You don't have to be a member, and that's $225, and you could do everything in the building all day long for as long as you want. So it's kind of an just like a blowout. Dude, get the IV, get the Myers-Briggs cocktail, get the vitamins, and then you do the hyperbaric chamber, and that drives the vitamins deep into the tissue. And it's funny, all this stuff to me, I do it, and I'm going to do anything that's available and try it. And then if I don't get results, then I'll just let it go. But when something works, man, I kind of grab hold of it.
Okay, let me ask you a question because we're going to have to wrap up a little bit. First of all, will you come back? Everybody's fascinated to join our show. Come back another time?
Oh, absolutely. Of course.
How about one tip for the guy who's watching and said, what's the one thing that you say, I could buy this off Amazon, my local vitamin shop, that I could do for myself? Is it the glutathione through a vaporizer? What would be one thing that you would recommend to anybody that they may not have heard of before?
This is actually, out of hundreds of protocols, this is actually really easy. And it's a great question, Tom. And it's free. Eat in a window. So in other words, like I only eat 6 hours a day.
Intermittent fasting.
Yeah. Then the rest of it, I'm not eating. And I never had any kind of dog in that fight.
Right.
But I kept hearing all these different people say, wait till you try it, wait till you try it. And honest to God, and again, I'm not selling anything. I don't have a dog in the fight. I started doing it just because I try everything. My stomach went flat.
Yeah.
For the first time, I didn't have that bubble. You know, I always had that little bit of a bubble in the stomach. Stomach went flat. All my visceral fat, which is the dangerous fat, and that's what they say with the fasting, the body metabolizes the visceral fat, which is the fat that's around the organs. That's the dangerous stuff. Right. That's the stuff that gets metabolized. Your stomach flattens out. You start getting a six-pack without ever having to do a sit-up, and you start feeling fantastic.
Wow.
So that was that. I did that, and I learned that from a guy named Tom DeLauer, and he's got another great podcast out. And I learned it about a year ago, and I never stopped doing it. That was the one. You know, you go out and buy vitamins, and you try them, you don't notice any difference, and you're like, I'm dropping $189 for these things.
Yeah.
I never noticed a difference. Anything I've ever bought, forgive me, Vitamin Shop, but anything I've ever bought in your store, I've never noticed a difference. I'm sure it's good, but I've never noticed it.
Caffeine and sugar, you notice a difference.
Yeah, that's it. So, but with the intermittent fasting, I noticed a difference right away in my energy, my strength, my clarity, and most importantly, man, my shreds. Like that was the first time I ever was able to get a six-pack.
Wow. All right. How about that's a great tip. That's something anybody could do. So just pick 6 hours, like from noon to 6 o'clock, eat whatever you want, or eat whatever, or 1 o'clock to 7 o'clock, but just pick your 6 hours. How about, can you promote something? You got a show coming up you want to talk about?
Oh, thank you, buddy. Yeah. So the two sites that, if people are interested in watching fights, you know, because that's what I do. I put fights on TV. My biggest network is NBC Sports Network. And if they're interested in seeing a schedule of our fights, they can go to UnitedFightAlliance.com. That's UnitedFightAlliance.com. Just click on schedule. And we're doing about 260 plus hours per month now of programming. They can see the full schedule. And I'm also doing some new content on my YouTube, on the Brawl Call YouTube. And that's going to be all, you know, what we're talking about now, kind of like killer shredded biohackers and, you know, world elite sports nutritionists.
Are the men identified as being single and available, or?
There's going to be plenty of women too. I got some killer women I'm interviewing, but the idea of that, and that's 100% free. The idea of that is to give back, because the podcast I've been listening to for the last 5 years, all I'm doing is taking, right? I'm just listening to podcasts, getting all the secrets, getting all the tricks, implementing them and changing my life because someone took the time to sit down and do a podcast like you guys are doing. It's a lot of effort. And because you guys are doing that, that's like that's a give, like you're giving. And I want to just,
we're givers, aren't we?
You're givers. I've always said that about you guys. I've always said that about you guys.
Well, I do want to clarify on your United Fight Alliance fights, because for people that are watching, these are very different fights than, say, like the fighting on Facebook.
I
can mute her, Jake.
Yes, quite different. This is opposite of that, because the Facebook, you know, the armchair kind of what do they call it? The people who are trolls, the trolls. Yes. They're kind of the keyboard warriors, right? Yes. But the people who fight on my networks get in a cage.
Oh.
And they stand across from someone who's going to do everything they can do to make you go asleep.
So
they're going to try to make you go to sleep.
What are the can't do's or what can do's? No,
in terms of the fights, like
no biting, but no kicking and wrestling and judo. Is that what?
Yeah, so it's mixed martial arts. So the only really things that aren't allowed are like fish hooking, which is, for anyone who's listening, can't see, I'm taking my finger, put it in my mouth. You pull on the lips just like a fish hook. I can't eye gouge. You can't do groin strikes. 12 to 6 elbows are illegal. Can't kick a downed opponent. But other than those 5 or 6 essential rules,
you can't bite though, can you?
Yeah, you can't bite. Yeah, but if you watch some of our older fights, you could do all the things I just mentioned. You could do all of it. But we started regulating ourselves because we wanted bigger television contracts. To be honest with you, I'd love to say it was an altruistic thing, but the truth was we needed bigger contracts.
Well, no, I've heard of cage fighting. Cage fighting is all out, right? You can do anything you want, right?
Essentially, yeah. Cage. That's what MMA is. It's cage fighting.
Mixed martial arts. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, essentially the same thing as cage fighting. And yeah, we have a full schedule of really good fights. We work with the #1 show in Brazil, the #1 show in Canada, 2 or 3 of the top level shows here in the States. So you'll watch really good fights when you tune in with us.
Okay.
Well,
Do
that's
you have
wonderful.
shows in Italy? Any fighting in Italy?
No, nobody fights.
Yes, there is a guy who, and I can hook you up with him.
Hello.
His
Yes.
name is Giovanni.
Yes.
she all of a sudden she got the pen and the book.
Yeah, focus.
All she had to hear was the name Giovanni, and it was all over. Yeah, it was like,
My goal, that's my next dating goal, is I want to date an Italian man.
Melinda
interesting.
Melinda does shows in Italy for for her products. They Zoom
Ooh.
shows.
I mean, I'm happy to hook you up with him. He has a fight that he does in Rome.
I mean, not that I'm asking, but call me later. Yeah.
Okay. He's a really good looking guy too. I think he's an ex-fighter. He's got that real thin waist, and he's got the jet black hair, that, the swooping hair and the accent, great English, but has the Italian accent. And yeah. Romantico.
Okay, I'm in. I love fighting all of a sudden.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's been my favorite sport for like 20 years.
Fascinating.
10 minutes.
I'll get you up to speed on like who the top guys are. So when you're sitting down for your first cup of espresso with them, you can really know what you're talking about.
I can throw out words like, I hope you never fish hook.
I love it.
I tell you, I got one quick funny story in terms of what you can do and can't do in terms of fouls. So I was doing a fight and I was all by myself. Normally I have a co-commentator, but I was by myself on this particular fight. I'm in the middle of commentating and this big, huge hand drapes over my shoulder. When I say huge, I'm not kidding. It's about twice the size of my hand. And I look up and it was freaking Shaquille O'Neal. He had come to the fights and he was really starting to get into the fights and he wanted to learn more about it. So he said, mind if I sit in with you? And I'm like, Mr. O'Neal. He's like, Shaq. I said, yeah, absolutely. So he sits, I say, hey, you want a headset? He goes, yeah, absolutely. So my guy runs and gets him a headset. So we're starting to just like chat it up. And the dude is funny. I don't know if you ever like watched him. Like he's legitimately funny. Like Tom, he's like you. He can do stand-up, like he just can be funny like you. Like it's not easy.
Well, I've seen him do the NBA shows.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's just good.
Yeah.
So he starts riffing and we're having a great time. He doesn't know, he knows a lot now, but back then he knew squat about the sport. So at one point, a dude was doing elbows on his opponent like this, and the referee took a point away from him. But earlier, the dude was doing elbows like this, and he didn't do anything. So Shaquille's like, why did he take points away from him, now, but before he didn't? I said, because it's a 12-6 elbow. In theory, that's a much more dangerous elbow. So the 12-6 elbow is not allowed, but an arching elbow is. So now Shaquille has loved that little factoid. Okay. Like he was just, for some reason, he was really into that factoid. For the rest of the fight, at the oddest times that had nothing to do with what was going on in the cage, he'd go 12-6, 12-6. Referee, that was a 12-6 elbow, because it sounds so official and it sounds like
sounds inside.
And everybody kind of look out like, who in the audience keeps yelling 12-6?
It's Shaq.
Pretty soon people figured out it was Shaquille, and it just became like everybody got the giggles about it, right? Like 2,000 people just were getting the giggles. The referee, the fighters. That's how funny he is. Like he did things like that all night long.
That's great.
Oh, what a treat that was.
Hey, we're gonna get kicked off of Zoom here in a second.
Yep.
40-minute max. Jay, my friend, I love you. Thanks for stopping by and sharing those are great tips. And then we'll put all your information on the website as well.
I love you too, Tommy.
And
Thank you, Melinda. It's nice to meet you.
I love you too.
I love you too.
Easy.
I love you too.
All right, you got to click your way out, Jay.
I got it. See you guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
There you go.
Wow. All right.
Zoom's going to kick us off in a few minutes, I'm sure. I'm afraid. You see.
I don't even know what to say. That was a lot of information.
That was crazy, right?
Yeah, he's got a lot of information. You've talked about Jay for a really long time. I've never met him. I thought I had, but I've never met him.
I thought you guys might have met in a brunch or something. But yeah, he's jacked up. He's got the hacks. Maybe we'll bring him in and talk about latest hacks, things that he's doing.
We should do a remote and do the cryo, right?
Yeah, cryogenics.
Yes.
What was I would try that. Absolutely. We can do that now. We've got the phone. Take the phone in, make it kind of like a 40-year-old virgin when it gets waxed.
Yeah, it's
live.
gonna be exactly like that. You're gonna become a meme and go viral.
Wow.
Ah.
My balls.
Well,
What was the
good. Very
what was the topic we were talking about before Jay came in?
Oh, good Lord. We were talking about, well, I got to move my notes over. Oh, the first date questions. First date.
Yes. Yes. And so how did you feel about that first date question? If somebody
Um,
asked you, what makes you unique?
I would feel put on the spot. And as much as I feel like I'm very social and I'm very comfortable on first dates, I think I would have felt a lot of pressure to be the entertainment with that question. Honestly, I was very disappointed because the two main questions they said to ask was, what makes you unique? And what are some random facts about you?
Ugh.
Right?
Have you ever heard about the 31 questions?
Is that the one that makes people fall in love with you?
Yes. Have you ever tried that?
I do it every day, Tom. I do it every day.
It was a fun.
Every day.
Those are good questions.
Are good. We should practice some of those because I think it is true. I think you can get, I don't want to say get, if you're in the right environment and make the right connections, yes, you can have a relationship with somebody. Honestly, those questions are amazing.
Yeah, and also, but I mean, you do have to have a baseline of chemistry. There's no doubt about that.
Yes,
It
of
can't
course.
be this and that, and you're going to
No.
force an issue. But if you have a baseline of chemistry, it allows people to reveal themselves, pull back the onion a lot faster than the 19 dates it would take to get to those issues, right?
I agree. And the whole looking in each other's eyes, because when you share intimate things like that, it does create quite the bond.
I think it's 31 questions. Maybe it's not. Something like
I
that.
don't remember what it's
30
called, but that's
something.
what made me, it must be, because that's what made me think of it. I remember thinking that it was fascinating and I read it. And I know people that have done it that were already in a couple's relationship to kind of help rebond and reconnect that way. Because listen, in everyday life, we're not making that extra effort to be connected. We're surviving, especially now where everybody's cranky and we're not sure what's going on.
No.
So to be in a relationship and to spend the time looking in each other's eyes and reconnecting, that's so special.
Absolutely. Oh, no doubt about it. And it's as Jay pointed out with his other tip, it's free.
It's free.
You
I'm
don't
going
have
to
to
use
bring
it on.
bring in a counselor. You have to buy a book. You just watch the videotape and just ask those questions.
Thank you for reminding me. I'm going to use it on Giovanni.
I love it. I love it. I think that's our show for the day. What do you think?
Too.
You got some great topics. I had some topics I want to get to, but we'll get to them on Wednesday,
We'll
perhaps.
do it on Wednesday. That sounds great.
Oh, by the way, we never started the show. My name's Tom Wise.
I'm Melinda McKinesy. What are we doing today?
Thanks for unpacking some shit with us.
Right.
We'll see you on Wednesday. We're releasing the shows a little bit later, like 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. My gosh, it's 4:43 right here, right now.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Thanks. End the meeting for all. No, stop the recording.
And the awkward.
I'll figure this out one day.